Oh, I've radar! Damn it. Well, I haven't played this since I did that one take video, so that's why I still have radar. Oh, and I'm playing it into Cleveland, Alaska, Des Moines, Des Moines. Okay. This will be a very useful radar. Don't worry. So I didn't mean to have radar this game, and yet it still turned out amazing. The reason radar is so bad into these radar cruisers is the range, right? We only have 7.5 kilometers of radar range, and we're facing a lot of 10-kilometer radars, which makes us essentially useless, assuming those radar cruisers do push up, which they will some of the time. The other main issue with this is we don't have our amazing Pan-Asian smokes, which are relatively fast cooldown and excellent for stopping to briefly farm a battleship who maybe used its damage control on our deep water torpedoes. I've made a few videos on the Yueyang recently, and I really am enjoying this ship. I've been having a lot of good games, and this one is no exception. We're going to do a ton of torpedo damage, probably one of my better torpedo boat games I've had recently. It's actually amazing what these deep waters are capable of. This Des Moines here would normally be only taking one torpedo from anything other than a Yueyang. And this is the torpedo detection. The deep waters, well, they just pop up on the side of your ship. This Des Moines didn't have any time to react, and we get ourselves 2 hits, resulting in 30k damage instead of just 15. That's the real strength here. Of course, they're pretty weak against DDs, so in the late game, we're going to notice that there's a lot of DDs left alive, but we'll have killed most of the surface capital ships, right? The cruisers and battleships. Of course, running torpedoes into choke points and into pushing teams is the best part about being a torpedo boat. And we get the perfect scenario here where the enemy team pushes all in into the decap here. I don't quite have my torpedo reload booster available, but I really only like to use those when I have my torpedoes up anyway. That way I'm launching a full spread of 20 deep water torps. It's just insane, and we're gonna get a couple more hits even without these reload boosters. But the next salvo of torpedoes is gonna be the really nasty one here. Our team is losing badly. We're losing A, we're losing D, and we have very little map control. The big issue here with Two Brothers is that the teams get split in half, and if you lose both sides, well, you're just looking at a blowout. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do. But in most cases, there's going to be a side that wins and a side that loses. This results in a lot of relatively even matched teams, games that go late and rely on those remaining living ships to carry out a win. And that's why I really actually enjoy Two Brothers. It's a map that often has very interesting games, ones that are, well, usually big damage games that are a lot of fun to play. The middle channel, of course, is a hilarious meme down the middle, at least at the beginning. But late game, once one flank is won and one flank is lost, it results in a very easy, fast rotate. But there's a lot of risk involved in rotating through the middle. You don't have a lot of vision coming out of it. But that's what's so cool about it. I love that it's a high risk, high reward rotator channel. And it makes the map very unique to play. Very few maps play like Two Brothers in this game. In fact, no other maps play like this one. They all have a relatively similar feel where people are taking flanks, off angles, they're sitting behind central islands to farm over, that kind of thing. This map, you can't really do that, and that's what I love so much about it. So now we've done a number on this Yamato so far, and look in the background. Yes, we're actually taking out the Montana as well. So nearly 100k from that torpedo salvo. We were around 40, 45k damage pre this torpedo salvo, and now we're up to 130. Yeah, the torpedo reload booster is pretty amazing. But here's why I really want to have smoke. If I could smoke up here and start farming this Yamato, he's definitely used his damage control. I want to set fires. I would get much more damage. And you can see we still haven't made use of our radar. If I decide to push aggressively and radar this ground again, for example, when he smokes up, he's got so much support close to him that I'm going to be spotted anyway by just firing. The Yamato, the Massachusetts are going to spot me, And then it's a bit of an even fight, except he has very close support. So there's really no way for me to get in and use my radar. And that's why I was so disappointed with having radar this game. It works really good some of the time, but games like this, smoke is just so valuable. I think that Yamato probably would have been taken out had I had smoke in this scenario. Oh well. Now moving on, our team is starting to die on this flank. They were playing very passive. They were at least still alive. They're starting to go down at this point, but our damage has certainly kept our team into this, and I'm doing a lot of work to spot as well. We've already got up to 64k spotting damage, which I know isn't really rewarded in this game. I wish it was, but it's still a significant amount of spotting damage, and it shows that we're doing a decent job of keeping these people lighted as they move in. I think the Yueyang might actually be the scariest torpedo boat in the game. The Shimakaze, of course, has the alpha damage. You're dead as soon as you are broadside to that salvo of torps, but there's a lot of warning with those torpedoes, whereas Yueyang, man, these torpedoes are scary. We're already up to 11 hits, and there's no warning for them. What do you do as a battleship or even a cruiser player? A cruiser with great maneuverability is still going to struggle against these torpedoes, and that's the scary thing. So I'm not sure if I'm ready to put it up there as the best torpedo boat in the game, but I'm having some really solid torpedo-focused games in this thing. We push towards the island here to make use of our radar. Like I talked about earlier, the enemy team is just going to spot us as soon as we open up while using our radar, right? The Yamato, the Alsace, they're going to spot us, and then the Groningen is going to be able to shoot us alongside his teammates. And not the most valuable radar, but it did get a little bit of chip damage on the Groningen, which is going to be very useful for later once our Massachusetts and our Yamato both go down, which is going to happen here. Torpedoes are back up again. The reload is a little bit long, I got to admit. As someone who's used to, say, a gearing reload, these feel a little bit slow, but of course we have a torpedo reload booster here where the gearing doesn't. And notice how close I'm launching a lot of these torpedoes from. I'm inside 10 kilometers, even though I have 13.5 kilometer range on these torpedoes. I'm trying to launch them as close as possible. That gives the least amount of reaction time and results in my best torpedo damage games. But it's only possible because the radars aren't around. You'll notice how passive I was at the start. I really wasn't playing aggressive. I was playing very close to my team until I knew where all the radars were. And then once that's out of the way, I know I can't be spotted unless the Groningen pushes me or the Kaba. And I'm going to outspot both of them. So I can afford to play very aggressive because I'm going to have clear heads up by the time anybody is getting close to spotting me. And that's the really nice part about playing these torpedo boats. You're able to dish out tons of damage. We're already up to, what, 190? This poor Alsace is on a double flood permanently, and he goes down. That's the strength. The fun part about these torpedo boats is that feeling of controlling the engagement. You have the ability to dictate when you're spotted, when you go dark, and it's a really fun time. I generally prefer the gunboat DDs, though, because they're just more action-packed, but it's a nice change of pace. And if you only have played the gunboats, well, these torpedo boats are a lot of fun, especially if you manage to get lucky with the matchmaker like I did in this one. Okay, as this Groningen is pushing in, I decide to take a fight because I have so much HP and I have this radar to counter his smoke. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to get away. I do take one blind shot into him and hope that that one's going to connect. Be really nice to clean him up here. The game is still very close and in fact is quickly getting out of control. Our team is pushing through and they do manage to clean up a few kills in the meantime, but taking these fights is not something I really want to do in this Yueyang with this build. I'll show you a little later, but it's a full torp build. So we have a 4-second reload on these main guns. Gearing has 3 seconds. It's rough with these guns. Collecting our high caliber there, yeah, 14 torpedo hits definitely carried our way to a high caliber, that's for sure. But you notice I am taking the odd gunfight here and there. I'm trying to help my team win as much as possible. In this case, I shot the Kaba because I wanted to reset the cap, keeping us ahead on points, allowing our team to capture C. And then I go and push towards the final remaining enemy DD, and, well, yeah, there's really not much of a contest here. The Yueyang definitely out DPMs one of the German, I don't know, heavy destroyers. They're really AP focused and not great in these knife fights. And finally, we come to the end. We've won the game. It's just this Kaba left. And I could have survived here, I think. I'm going to die. But I decide to push in and take the fight because wouldn't it be nice to cap this off with a Kraken? Unfortunately, I can't aim. That first salvo was horrible. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to swap over to the AP. This is how you deal with a Kaba in close range. Notice in my Kaba videos, I've talked about you don't want to engage a Kaba. Well, that's mainly when it's ready to kite away. At close range, Kaba's pretty vulnerable. It's very clunky to maneuver. And as you can see, I'm so maneuverable, I'm actually dodging a lot of his shells. Unfortunately, I'm not dodging the torpedoes, so no Kraken in this one. I really did try for it. I would have capped off quite the game. But still, 220k and 4 kills. Quite the carry from a accidental radar Yueyang. I really did want to have smoke in this one, but it turned out all right in the end anyway. Yeah, nearly 3k base as well. A pretty solid result and one I'm very happy with. As for the build, like I mentioned, it is full torpedo boat. If you're wanting to run the radar, I think running gunboat is definitely a must. It's difficult to get the most out of the radar with this ship. Don't go range. Go with the main battery and AA specialist, even fearless brawler, because you're not going to be into smoke. You're probably going to get lit up as soon as you radar anyway, and it's nice to have that extra 10% DPM because it's really lacking DPM. Yeah, 4 seconds base reload is pretty rough with these arcs. But as a torpedo boat, the Yueyang is scary. This is a lot of fun and definitely the way I would recommend playing the Yueyang. It's a very unique ship now and one I really enjoy, where before this buff that has happened recently, I wasn't really playing it. But I've really had a good time with it so far. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. Pretty insane torpedo game, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.